Hello and welcome to a new episode of our program Weaving the Future. There are only a few days left until the end of 2025, a year full of women's struggles and resistance. We are living in a time where fascism is on the rise around the world, wars and conflicts are increasing, and violence against women is escalating. Attacks on women's achievements are also becoming more frequent. Women and children all over the world, especially in the Middle East and Africa, are becoming victims of wars fought for the interests of hegemonic powers. This year's United Nations report on violence against women also showed that at least 54,000 women were killed by their partners or family members, which demonstrates how war is being waged against women. However, alongside this violence, women's resistance is also growing, and we can see that women all over the world are fighting for their existence and taking the lead in people's struggles. In today's episode, we will speak to women from various countries and ask them how they think 2025 has been for women. We interviewed women in the city of Cologne in Germany and in France's capital Paris, and we will now share their views with you.
Catastrophique. Beaucoup de femmes ne parlent pas, mais elles souffrent terriblement parce qu'elles sont avec des hommes agressifs.
Oui, il y a eu des réactions contre ces
Féministes. Il y a eu des réactions féministes, certaines manifestations, mais ça s'est arrêté là parce que la politique, eux, les femmes sont de côté.
Est-ce qu'on peut dire que la violence contre les femmes sont juste physiques? Est-ce qu'il y a une violence?
Non, il n'y a pas que physique. Il y a certaines femmes, malheureusement, leurs maris, leurs compagnons leur font faire de la prostitution à domicile et elles sont coincées parce qu'elles ont des enfants avec lui.
Et comment il faut résoudre tous ces problèmes?
C'est pas aussi facile que ça. Les problèmes se résoudront peut-être avec le temps, mais il faudrait quand même qu'il y ait une autre éducation, les parents, les mères avec leurs enfants pour que les enfants réagissent bien. Là, malheureusement, beaucoup d'étrangers, entre guillemets, les femmes n'ont pas beaucoup d'importance. Et donc, elles subissent. Et elles ne peuvent pas enseigner à leurs enfants le bien ou le mal, par agression, parce qu'elles ont peur de leur époux.
Merci beaucoup.
De rien.
Merci.
C'était compliqué sur plusieurs aspects. Enfin, on a eu des féminicides comme les années précédentes. Il n'y a pas eu d'évolution par rapport à tout ça.
Ouais. Et la violence contre les femmes et les enfants augmente chaque année en France de plus en plus. Qu'est-ce que vous avez à dire sur ce sujet-là?
Déjà, je suis d'accord avec vous. Et puis, comment dire, je pense que le problème, c'est que les personnes qui pourraient prendre des actions pour améliorer la situation des femmes et des enfants l'ignorent complètement parce que ça ne les arrange pas. Par exemple, certains politiques, l'événement qu'on a eu récemment avec Brigitte Macron et Harry Habitant, où elle a insulté les manifestantes féministes de chez nous toutes, de Salcone comme ça. Et elle en avait profondément rien à faire finalement. Donc à partir du moment où les gens qui sont censés nous protéger nous considèrent comme ça, on ne va pas avancer, quoi.
Et quelle sorte de violence envers les femmes subissent les femmes en France? Parce qu'il n'y a pas juste la violence physique.
Tout à fait, mais ça peut être... alors déjà, il y a dans la rue le harcèlement de rue, ça peut être au travail. Si on est dans un domaine masculin, on est considéré forcément... moins considéré qu'un collègue homme. Je sais pas, après, en fait, le problème, c'est que la misogynie, c'est tellement dans tous les recoins de la société et de toutes nos interactions que j'avoue que je ne sais pas trop quoi dire.
Il y a partout, quoi.
Voilà.
D'accord. Merci beaucoup.
Avec plaisir.
Merci. contre la violence envers les femmes et les enfants, par exemple, il y a eu le procès de Gisèle Pellico l'année dernière. Les résultats, il y a eu des manifestations. Et on sait qu'en France, il y a beaucoup de femmes qui subissent la violence physique, psychologique, économique, etc. À ce sujet-là, qu'est-ce que vous voulez dire?
C'est bien en fait que maintenant ça puisse sortir, tous ces problèmes qui ont été cachés par pas mal de personnes, quoi. Voilà, je trouve que c'est bien que la justice elle œuvre davantage parce qu'avant c'était un sujet complètement tabou et maintenant on arrive à en parler.
Déjà, c'est pas mal, on peut
Déjà,
dire.
c'est pas mal, voilà.
Et la violence envers les femmes est juste physique, à votre avis, ou il y a d'autres sortes de violences?
Il y a des violences aussi, je pense, psychologiques, hein, de toute façon, puisque même je trouve qu'il y a des fois, c'est par rapport au regard de certaines personnes, hein, en fait, de certains hommes par rapport sur les femmes, hein, au niveau des yeux, au niveau des regards, et ça, je trouve que c'est insupportable, quoi.
Et qu'est-ce qu'il faut faire contre ça?
Que les hommes déjà se rendent compte qu'ils n'ont pas ils n'ont pas un droit de regard sur les femmes et que chacun est égaux, est égal. Voilà, la parité, je trouve que c'est quand même pas mal.
Merci beaucoup.
Je pense que ça a été une mauvaise année. C'est de pire en pire. Il y a de plus en plus de femmes qui sont victimes de violences physiques et psychologiques. Psychologiques, oui.
Oui, j'allais vous poser cette question. Vous pensez qu'il y a juste la violence physique contre les femmes ou d'autres sortes de violences en général?
Ah non, il y a aussi les violences psychologiques.
Économique.
Moi-même, j'ai vécu des violences psychologiques, oui, mais pas physiques.
Comment ça a été? Si vous pouvez décrire en quelques phrases.
En fait, c'est se sentir dépossédé, victime. Comment expliquer
Être prisonnier de quelqu'un.
Oui, c'est ça. C'est ça. Un sentiment d'être complètement sous emprise, en fait. On est sous emprise et on perd sa personnalité et on devient comme un objet et on perd. Voilà, c'est terrible.
C'est difficile. Je sais que c'est difficile de parler.
C'est sous emprise.
Oui. Et qu'est-ce qu'il faut faire pour sortir de cette situation? Qu'est-ce que vous avez fait, par exemple?
Moi, j'en ai parlé autour de moi, tous mes amis. Quand je me suis rendu compte de la gravité de la situation, que j'étais vraiment, j'étais plus moi-même. Donc j'en ai parlé à tout le monde, à ma famille. Mais j'ai mis du temps à remettre, mais j'ai fini par m'en remettre.
Et ça vous a pris combien de temps?
Et surtout, j'ai bloqué cette personne. J'ai bloqué. C'est difficile, hein. C'est difficile parce qu'on a l'impression qu'on est attaché, mais en fait, c'est pas ça. C'est quand on est sous emprise de cette personne. En fait, on se rend pas compte. Ça vient de façon insidieuse, petit à petit, et voilà, c'est vrai que c'est difficile de s'en sortir, mais avec le temps, on peut s'en sortir. Voilà. Mais moi, j'ai jamais subi de violence physique, hein.
Mais vous avez subi psychologiquement,
Oui.
économiquement peut-être, tout ça?
Non, que psychologiquement.
D'accord. Et en général, les femmes doivent faire quoi pour sortir de ce cas-là? Vous avez
Je pense qu'avant de rentrer dans une relation, c'est prendre son temps, apprendre à bien connaître la personne et surtout essayer de ne pas être isolé. Parce que quand on est isolé, c'est plus difficile de se sortir d'une situation où on est soit sous violence psychologique ou physique. Et c'est surtout en parler autour de soi, ne pas s'isoler. Voilà.
Merci beaucoup.
Je vous en
Si
prie.
vous voulez ajouter quelque chose,
C'est essayer de conserver son indépendance financière, économique. Effectivement, c'est important. C'est pas toujours facile, hein. Mais effectivement, faire tout son possible pour garder son indépendance financière, pour ne pas dépendre de quelqu'un.
In the interviews we conducted in France, we found that most women believed 2025 was a difficult year for women. The women we interviewed focused on the issue of violence against women, which was high on the agenda in France this year due to the high-profile court case involving Gisèle Pellico. During the interviews, the women also pointed out that violence can manifest itself in different ways, such as physical and psychological violence. This is why the women emphasized the importance of defending themselves against this violence. At the same time, they emphasized that, to stop this violence, there needs to be a change in society's patriarchal and sexist mentality. Next, we will travel to Cologne, Germany, to ask women how they view 2025 and, according to them, which topics were the most important ones this year. First of all, what's your name and where you're from?
My name is Helen Thomas. I'm from Nigeria but currently reside in England. So I came to Germany for vacation and for the Christmas celebration.
Okay, thanks a lot. And we want to talk about the situation of women in the year 2025 today, as we are getting to the end of the year. First of all, in general, how do you see the situation of women?
All right, so in general, I would say women are striving hard in different aspects and also in different sectors. I've worked in different sectors, both in the healthcare and administrative sectors, and most of my colleagues happen to be women. And during that, there's a lot of communications and cooperation that has also helped in my organization as a coordinator. And due to our impact, we are able to grow together as women. And also, some of the ladies I've come across in my own place from Nigeria, they are also striving hard in personal businesses, whereby they don't just want to be employed, but they want to be self-employed. And they're striving hard to ensure there is development and also building their own selves in one way or the other. But organizations in general have come to observe that some cases, like when a woman is pregnant, they try not to employ her because they feel, oh, she's pregnant, she might not be able to do some tasks. And we see that as discrimination, because you don't just discriminate because she's coming to the organization being pregnant. There are some jobs she can do despite her state as at that point in time as a woman. So restricting at that point in time, you don't know if she needed the resources.
Yes, thanks a lot. And you also said how women are really successful in organizing people and in bringing people together. What do you think, what kind of qualities do women have that make them so good at organizing people?
Okay, the first skills a woman needs in order to be top-notch in an organization is communication in all ratification and also engaging in self-development with skills. So when we build ourselves, not just being limited to the tasks we are doing, but try to explore some other courses or qualifications that will also aid to the program we are offering.
Yes, thanks a lot. And you also already opened the topic of how women are being discriminated, like in the fields of work. And also recently there was statistics that in this year, 2025, 50,000 women have been killed by their intimate partners or by people from their families. How do you see the topic of violence? Is it maybe something that also personally affected you or something that you see like in your environment also?
Okay, I would say in general, women should just be watchful of themselves and with people within themselves. Because we as women, we trust easily with not just ourselves, but also those within ourselves and partners. So in order not to be violated or be put into such situation, we should be watchful of ourselves and also limit the trust we just have and try to put more trust in ourselves than people others to avoid such incidents.
Yes, thanks a lot. And what else can women do, like to defend themselves, like to organize themselves together as women? Maybe you can also compare like the situation in your home country, Nigeria, and in like England. Like how do you see women coming together, like organizing themselves also?
In the aspect of organizing themselves, they should be able to undergo some training that has to do with self-defense, which varies, and also how to be at alert and would to trust to communicate such situation in the aspect of safeguarding them and also to know how they are being safe when they open. You know, women, we are afraid of some communications that if we say this up, there might be discrimination, so we don't want to voice out. But we should try to know who to communicate with that will be able to stand for us and try to safeguard us to save us from such incidents. Yes.
Yes, thanks a lot. And also I would ask another a bit more general question. If you have time still. Now, in a lot of countries, there are a lot of discussions about war rising and about militarization and about the military like being on the rise also in some countries such as Denmark. For example, military service is now also compliant for women again. What do you think about this topic? Like, is it something that you're afraid of, for example, of war happening in Europe?
I have to use my country. There's a lot of war currently ongoing, and we know those people to be called the militant and Boko Haram. So, and now they're not just kidnapping or carrying out the war as a whole, but the women are victims because during that process, the women they kidnap, they do all sorts of things with them. So which could endanger their lives and make people to be scared, more especially the ladies, the women. So therefore, not just the government within that society, but the government worldwide should try to enforce policies that will help this countries and women as well, so that such situations will not happen because they kidnap them, do what they want to do, at the end they waste their lives. So why put them into such situation? But if we have the government as a whole backing us up as a country, I think the women will be safe and the country will be safe at large. Thank you.
Thanks a lot. And do you have a last message to women for the year, for the upcoming year?
I just want to say, I'm a lady and I'm a woman. We are the best. We should strive. We should keep striving hard, be self-aware, and also in order to equip ourselves and to be on top of the world as a whole.
Thanks a lot. Thank you so much. Have a nice day. Bye.
Ich heiße Melina und ich komme hier aus Deutschland in Bonn.
Okay, super. Und wie war so die Situation von Frauen? Auch für dich persönlich als Frau, wie ist das Jahr so vergangen?
Ich würde sagen, es war auf jeden Fall schon schwierig. Also im Endeffekt, dass wir belästigt werden, bespuckt oder sonst was. Ja, aber wir sind dafür da, dass wir im Endeffekt auch mehr machen, dass wir uns einsetzen, dass wir auf die Straße gehen und laut werden, dass das eben nicht geht, dass Gewalt an Frauen überhaupt nicht möglich oder transparent sein soll.
Ja, was ja gerade auch sehr viel besprochen wird, ist so der Krieg in der Ukraine, der russische Angriffskrieg eben auf die Ukraine. Und auch hier ist das ja viel in den Medien, auch mit der Wehrpflicht, die jetzt wieder Stück für Stück so eingeführt wird. Wie siehst du das so? Hast du konkret Angst, dass der Krieg auch zum Beispiel hier nach Deutschland, hier nach Westeuropa auch kommt?
Ich bin schon sehr überzeugt davon, dass auf jeden Fall Krieg auch hier herrschen wird, dass ich weiß nicht, ob wir vielleicht rausfliegen müssen. Also ich weiß, dass meine Familie, mein Vater besonders sagen wird, okay, wir fliegen jetzt alle nach Zypern und bleiben dort dann. Ja, Wehrpflicht. Ich meine, gut, die möchten natürlich auch, dass wir im Endeffekt, jemand muss ja hingehen, um unser Land im Endeffekt zu schützen, auch wenn vieles nicht so gut gelaufen ist im Krieg.
Für dich so als junge Frau, was würdest du sagen, so für den Ausblick für 2026, was wünschst du dir so für junge Frauen?
Dass wir sicher auf jeden Fall abends durch die Straßen gehen können, dass es keine Sache von Belästigung herrschen wird. Und ich glaube nicht mal, dass das 2026 vielleicht komplett weg ist, aber zumindest ein Teil besser ist, wo zum Beispiel, ich weiß nicht, Karneval ist das ja auch so ein Ding, wo dann bestimmte Token gibt, wo man dann anrufen kann, es gibt Begleitertelefone, aber einfach, dass man sich rundum einfach sicher fühlt, dass man nicht mehr sich irgendwie sich zurückzieht und nur zu Hause ist, gerade in solchen, dass Frauen auch mehr zusammenhalten. Das würde ich mir ganz stark für 2026 wünschen.
Ja, super, vielen Dank. Dankeschön.
Bu yıl 2025 kadınlar için nasıl geçti? 2025 kadınlar için bence daha da zorlaştı ama kadının gücü daha da arttı. Bu potansiyelle bence kadının yapamayacağı hiçbir şey olmadığını tüm dünyanın anladığını düşünüyorum. Sonuçta dokunduğumuz her yeri güzelleştirdiğimizi herkesin düşündüğünü bilmek bile aslında güzel bir enerji. Ama her meslekte, her evde, her yerde olmak ve herkesin hayatına dokunmak bence çok güzel. Ama tabii ki dünya genelinde yaşanan birçok olumsuzluklar haliyle hem kadınları hem çocukları herkese etkiliyor. İstiyoruz ki zaten böyle şeyler hiç olmasın. Ama eminim ki daha da güzelleşecektir. Olumlu düşünmek istiyorum bu konuda. Ama kadının bence dokunduğu her yer çok daha güzelleşiyor. Teşekkür ederim.
Teşekkür. Genelde şu anda çok şiddet var, savaş var. Kadınlar karşı ve genelde. Peki sen nasıl görüyorsun?
Şöyle görüyorum. Aslında ben de sosyal medya uzmanıyım. Sosyal medyada gördüğümüz her bir habere dokunduğumuzda bu haberlerin çoğaldığının farkındayım. Bu yüzden de aslında bilmediğimiz daha çok şeylerin olduğunu düşünüyorum. Bunun için bence yasalarla hem devletin hem toplumun daha da bağlayıcı kararlar alması gerektiğini düşünüyorum. Ama tabii ki olumsuzluklardan dolayı umarım tüm ülke bir arada olup bu şekilde olumsuzlukları aşacaktır.
Tamam, çok teşekkürler. Ve kadınlar için senin mesajın ne?
Biz birlikte çok güçlüyüz.
Tamam, çok teşekkür ederim. Tamam, kendine iyi. First of all, what's your name and where you're from?
My name's Jill, I'm from Australia.
And my name's Margaret, I'm also from Australia.
Yes, thanks a lot. And today we want to talk about like the year 2025, how it passed by, especially for women. First of all, how would you like analyze like the general situation of women in the last year, but also like as the years goes on, how is it maybe also changing for women? I will start with you.
I think it's rather frightening, the rise of violence against women and the amount of domestic violence that seems to be on the increase, particularly where we live in Australia, and I don't think that's going to be much different from anywhere else in the world. For 2025, I think that would be the big thing that I would notice in a negative point of view, yes.
Yes, thanks a lot. And how do you see the situation of women, like also in the last year? How would you analyze it?
On a quick thinking, for me, one of the big issues is health, and a lot of progress has been made in women's health, certainly in Australia, in women having access to appropriate health services at all levels, whether they're young women, young mothers, or whether they're midlife. And so that's been a very big focus, that women do have access to the proper health care and health resources that they need when they need it. Coupled with what Margaret has said about the rise in domestic violence, we haven't experienced that directly ourselves. However, people that we know have, and it makes us very sad. So we grew up in an era when those things either didn't happen or weren't talked about. Now it's frontline news every day, and so it kind of makes you feel heartsick to see this is what's happening. So I guess it's a general outlook of trying to do the right thing, appreciating that there are resources there, but that still there are many, many women of all ages who can't get the help they need when they need it straight away. Yeah.
Thanks a lot. And then maybe also about the topic of violence against women, the UN, I think they shared like a report this year where they said that only in this year 54,000 women have been killed by their intimate partners or like members of their family. So like the numbers, they're also like really, really shocking. And it might even, like there's also a big like dark number. It might even be that there's like a bigger visibility now for violence against women than there was like a few years ago. And it's not like a new phenomenon that is happening. You also mentioned it is something that you do also see like in your, how do you say, like in your surroundings, like in the people close to you. What do you think, how can women defend themselves against like being victims of violence?
I think it depends on the situation, whether they have young children or not that they're protecting, because so often there is fear that their partner will harm the children, and that kind of locks them into staying in a situation, and so that they feel they can't move, they can't do anything in case he gets angry and hurts the children, and that's been a big thing too. And I know from personal experience with friends, that is what has kept them in the house. The other thing that I've noticed for 2025, which is similar on the same vein, but is the general violence in the community, and we've just experienced the anti-Semitism, quite a rise in anti-Semitism, and that's been awful. And just knowing where that comes from, it's hard to pinpoint it, and just the violence in thought, word, and action against people of a particular religious faith.
Like now we also talked about like the reality of women, also like the harsh reality that women are facing. Like in this year, was there like a woman, like it can be a famous woman, but also women like close to you that inspired you, like that you took inspiration from?
Oh, that's a hard question. Who do I take inspiration from? I think my inspiration has come from my faith, that I'm a person of worth and value, and that's come from my faith, my Christian faith.
I don't know, my role models, in the past I think of people like a person like Helen Keller, and I don't know if you know her story, but she was blind and deaf from a very, very, very early age, and yet she learned to read Braille, she learned to write, she became a public speaker, and she never let her circumstances get her down. So it's someone like that who has found a way to rise above whatever it is that has assailed them. That's the key thing too, and particularly I think, I can't think of a particular person that you would know. It'd be somebody maybe in Australia, but and there are a number of women. Their stories have been published in magazines who survived brutal assaults. This was a couple of years ago. That woman, remember that woman in Queensland, and the husband burnt the children. You know, things like that, and yet. That woman was able to tell her story, and she actually did start a network for women who needed to reach out to help in all sorts of situations. So yeah, people like that are real heroes. They don't do it for themselves, they do it because they've been through it and they want to help others who are up against the wall and no place to go. Yeah. So I can't give you names, but I know that there are.
Thanks a lot. Yes, I think it's super important to see these kind of like positive examples also. Now, everywhere over the world, we see an increase in wars and conflicts. I think I saw an article a few weeks ago where they said that after the Second World War, there's the highest number of conflicts and wars happening in the world at the moment. And like I think we hear about wars, for example, in the Middle East, or in Sudan, for example, is going on since a few years, but it also has come like to Europe with the war in Ukraine. And also lots of countries in Europe, they are putting it on their agenda, like the agenda of war, and also there's fear like spreading in society. A lot of countries, they are making military service like something which like young people have to like participate, attend. How do you see this? How do you see the situation?
I was surprised to hear you saying this, because this is a cultural thing. We are so far removed from all this, and Australia has never been at war. We've had our servicemen and women who've gone to war for Britain, but we've never experienced aggression. Well, telling a lie, the Japanese invaded just very minutely up in the Northern Territory, but we have never really been threatened by war, and therefore it's not something that's on our mind. And I don't think that our young women think of how they will prepare for war. I don't think it's...
No, I don't think they do either. There are a good number of women who are in the military by choice, Army, Air Force, Navy, and they do frontline combat duties in all of those fields. But that's their choice of career. It's not because they're, well, as far as I know, they're afraid or want to, strike a blow for peace. I think that somehow women need to be able to teach their children that it doesn't have to be war. There are other ways to get along with people that are not like you, or that you don't agree with, or you don't see eye to eye with. It's negotiation, understanding. And I'm not saying using the word tolerate, because that means you're implying, well, I'm better and I'll put up with you, but understanding where the other people are coming from and accepting that's them and we're like this. We can still work together because we both got strengths. I guess calling on strengths of people, not on their hate and their fears. And a lot of the information that's out there, I can say propaganda, but a lot of the information that's out there is particularly designed to generate fear, so that people will relax and say, oh, don't like that, I must do. And if we can actually do away with that culture of fear, I'm not saying that there aren't dangers and we don't need to be afraid at times, but to do away with the actual idea that fear has the power that we want to operate from. We operate from a position that we can deal with the fearful stuff in a different way, through different strengths. That's an important thing, and perhaps that's something that we probably do innately now at our age, but to some degree. But young women, they're very, very focused on earning a living, contributing to their family income, and they may not have time to actually teach their children that there are other ways other than just being fearful of the stuff that you don't understand. Yeah.
Yes, thanks a lot, and
Have fun.
erst einmal, wie heißt du und woher kommst du?
Ich heiße Marlene, ich komme aus der Nähe von Köln und bin aber in der Nähe von Stuttgart in Tübingen geboren.
Okay, vielen Dank, und wir wollen heute im Interview so ein bisschen das Jahr 2025 Revue passieren lassen, vor allem in Bezug auf die Situation von Frauen. Wie würdest du generell so die Situation von Frauen bewerten, so in diesem Jahr?
Ich würde die Situation als eher schwierig bewerten, also gerade die Situation von Müttern, da ich selber Mutter von 3 Kindern bin und auch alleinerziehend bin, finde ich, könnten wir viel mehr Unterstützung bekommen oder sollten wir mehr Unterstützung bekommen. Ja.
Super, vielen Dank, und vielleicht auch zur generellen Situation so. Du hast gerade auch erwähnt, du hast 3 Kinder, also auch was so unsere Zukunft betrifft, spiegelt sich das ja gerade auch viel in den Medien wieder, dass eben der Krieg sich immer mehr ausweitet. Jetzt wird auch die Wehrpflicht so Stück für Stück wieder eingeführt. Wie siehst du das so? Hast du irgendwie Angst auch um die Zukunft deiner Kinder?
Ja, auf jeden Fall. Also ich finde schon, dass es einem Angst machen kann, was man vor allem hört in den Medien und auch sonst mitbekommt. Und ja, ich wünsche mir natürlich eine sichere und gewaltfreie Zukunft für meine Kinder. Ja.
Super, und ich weiß nicht, ob deine Kinder auch Jungs oder Mädchen sind. So, wie ziehst du sie so groß, dass sie auch als selbstbewusste Kinder auch groß werden können und gerade auch als Mädchen vielleicht sich auch selber verteidigen können oder auch so ein bisschen so eben diese Realität auch gerade reinholen werden, wie du auch selber beschrieben hast, die auch schwierig sein kann für Frauen. Wie spiegelt sich das so in der Erziehung wider?
Ja, also meine Kinder haben auch einen Migrationshintergrund durch ihren Vater Und ich merke das schon, dass sie sich auch manchmal ungerecht behandelt fühlen. Und ich versuche ihnen halt einfach mitzugeben, dass sie gleichwertig sind wie alle anderen. Und wenn sie Ungerechtigkeiten mitbekommen, sich dagegen wehren sollen, auf andere Erwachsene zugehen und ja, einfach, sag ehrlich und ja, friedlich durch die Gesellschaft gehen sollen. Ja.
Ja, super, vielen Dank. Und vielleicht du auch als Mutter hast ja auch noch mal eine besondere Rolle und so Stellung, die man auch in der Gesellschaft so hat. Was würdest du dir wünschen als Mutter, wie sich die Gesellschaft dir annähert? Was ist vielleicht eine Unterstützung, die du dir noch mehr wünschen würdest?
Ja, ich würde mir einfach wünschen, dass man mehr integriert wird in die Gesellschaft, vor allem als Alleinerziehende, dass es mehr Angebote gibt, wo man sich vernetzen kann, wo man sich vielleicht auch mit anderen Generationen vernetzen kann, weil oft sind ja die älteren Menschen auch viel alleine und da wäre es schön, wenn da irgendwie mehr Austausch entstehen würde.
Ja, cool, vielen Dank. Und als letzte Frage noch, was ist deine Botschaft an Frauen für das kommende Jahr, für das Jahr 2026?
Meine Botschaft ist, bleibt stark, vernetzt euch untereinander, gebt euch gegenseitig Kraft und Unterstützung.
Super, vielen Dank. Dankeschön. Super. First of all, what's your name and where are you from?
My name is Anne and I'm from Belgium.
Thanks a lot. What's your name?
Jill.
Inne.
Nice to meet you. And first of all, we want to ask for you as a woman, how did you see the past year, 2025? How do you see the situation of women?
Oh, it's a very good question, a very tough one. I don't know, I think gradually women are, well, we are closing the gap, I think, professionally at least. So, yeah, for me, and in my personal situation, my employer, for example, they are doing really great efforts to close the gap. They are really benchmarking the salaries between men and women. So, and I think also the European Union is giving us more strict rules. So we are closing the gaps because we have to, but I think that's a really great step.
Yes, thanks a lot. And you're now from Belgium. Do you think that women are free in Belgium?
Yes, I do think so. Yes, we're very free. We can do what we want, and it's important. Also, seeing my children grow up, they really can dream, and they can really fulfill their dreams if only they have enough strength to do that.
Yes, thanks a lot. And what's your message to women and also to girls for the new year of 2026?
Good question, but I would say don't give up and go for your dreams.
Okay, thanks a lot.
What?
Do you also want to say something?
Nee.
You can also translate to what you want to say for all women.
Hetzelfde als
Voor alle vrouwen.
Ja, hetzelfde als jou. Hadi bir şey koyun sana, tschüss.
Dear viewers, today we were in Cologne and talked to women from different countries about the year 2025. We wanted to find out from these women how they experienced the year 2025 and how they viewed the current global situation. In our interviews, we saw that we are living in a time when war preparations are being made all over the world and violence against women has reached new heights. Many women have noticed this and can see how violence against women is increasing. At the same time, many women emphasize that, in order to stop this violence and prevent women from becoming victims of war and violence, women need to fight collectively. In their messages for 2026, the women also said that women need to fight together. We have now reached the end of this episode and the end of the year of 2025, and we will meet and see each other again in 2026. Until our next program, take care and stay well.